All right, thank you everyone for joining us. We're gonna begin our, I'll call to order our public session on rule changes. Am I
Hearing,
saying that wrong?
hearing.
Public hearing, thank you, public hearing, on, two rule changes, to Rule 1 and Rule 3. The session is open now for public comment. We had requested through this rule change that anyone who wanted to provide comment, register by February 3rd. As of February 3rd, no one had registered to make comment. So we have no comments for our public hearing. So with that, because we have no one signed up to provide comment, we're actually going to move to conclude the public hearing. Is that okay? Okay. And we're gonna move into open session. So now that we're in open session, we have, we're now in open session of our regular commission meeting. And I will start by opening with, should I open with the votes or should I?
Do roll call.
Roll call. Do I do votes then after like item number 2?
Yeah.
Okay, and item number 3, we'll do votes on those rules. Thank you. Okay, so we'll start with roll call of the commissioners. I'll start and then we'll go around. Commissioner Miller?
Oh, Commissioner Moore.
Commissioner Foster.
Do we have any other commissioners on the line?
Commissioner Stout appearing virtually.
Hi, Commissioner Stout. Thank you for joining us. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We'll move to item number 2 in the open session, which is approval of the minutes from January 22nd. Can I get a motion for approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Seconded.
Seconded, motion by Commissioner Gardner, Moore, excuse me, sorry. Vice President, no, sorry. Commissioner Moore motioned, Commissioner Foster seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we have approved our minutes from January 22nd, 2025. We'll move into president and board updates. All right, for the president and board updates, today we're going to be taking a vote on our 2 rules. Following our public hearing, our public hearing has been concluded. So we're going to vote on changes to Rule 1 and changes to Rule 3. Rule 1 is
Definition. Rule 1 is a definition and then Rule 3 is a citizenship.
citizenship. Okay. Rule 1 is the marijuana.
Definition.
What do you, I don't know what you're saying.
Rule 1 is where the definitions of the entire rule book is, it's just dividing.
Oh, okay, so both of these are reflected in Rule 1 and Rule 3. Okay, excuse me. We're gonna be making changes to Rule 1 and Rule 3. That will be addressing changes on citizenship and the matter of marijuana. All right, so we'll go first on changes to marijuana. Is that how I should run it? Right, okay. we'll do, sorry, y'all, we haven't actually, I haven't done a rule change yet, so thank you for your patience with me. Okay, so we'll first move on a vote, of support for. This is going great. To adopt changes to marijuana, right?
He did give you a prescription for Peridium, so you don't need the azo.
What is this?
It's the Colace that you just asked for.
My gosh, please mute.
Hey, y'all.
How's your nausea?
Or
That's
muting.
Mary.
Is she talking to us?
Yeah, Mary, you need to, unless you're talking, there you go. Thank you.
We muted her.
Oh, okay.
Mary, if you don't mind, I guess raise your hand, that way, Murray knows.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was.
All right, we'll do the vote and then I'm gonna make a statement following. Okay. So first we'll move to approve, the adoption of changes to the marijuana rule. Can I get a motion to adopt the changes to the marijuana rule?
So moved.
Can I get a seconded by Foster? And then we'll go through and each person can render their vote, right? So, I vote yes to adopt.
Yeah, Greg Moore, I vote yes.
Steve Foster, yes.
Okay. The rule has been changed for marijuana, which will shift the prohibition of marijuana consumption from 1 year prior to application to the date of application. And I'm just going to say a few words on that. And the commissioners are welcome to say a few words as well, of course. I think this has been a lot of work, and I want to thank the Civil Service Commission staff, particularly Jeanette, who has done a lot of work to develop this policy change, this rule change. I think it represents a thoughtful, needed, and pragmatic evolution of our city policies. Colorado has been, as we all know, at the forefront of marijuana legalization. And I do believe it's essential that our hiring policies reflect these legal and societal shifts. The existing rule has resulted in the disqualification of hundreds of otherwise qualified candidates. I think my number's right in saying potentially qualified candidates, limiting the applicant pool for Denver police and fire at a time when attracting skilled, committed individuals to public safety is critical, and as we all know, something that this commission has been working hard to address. This change aligns with recruitment policies in other jurisdictions that have modernized their approaches, such as New Orleans and Los Angeles, while maintaining strict standards for performance, conduct, and professionalism. It also aligns with the positions of the position of support of our Department of Safety and police and fire. And so we're very grateful for everyone's work to make this important change and come to this decision together. Our focus remains on an applicant's ability to serve with integrity and excellence rather than on past legal marijuana use. The commission is, I do believe, committed to ensuring a fair and thorough and inclusive hiring process that does not impose unnecessary barriers to entry. And it's the board's hope, it's my hope, that this proposed rule change will allow us to better attract a broader and more diverse group of candidates while upholding our high standards expected of our public safety professionals. Again, I just want to thank everyone for all their hard work. Thank you. And we're excited for the opportunity that this can lead to. Commissioners.
I just would second everything that you said. Really appreciate the hard work, and I think sort of lining up with other jurisdictions that's going to, increase our competitiveness and our ability to get a greater yield. So I'm really looking forward to the output and the outcomes.
All right. Oh, did you have?
No, I'm good.
All right, we'll next move to a vote to adopt changes to the citizenship rule for the Civil Service Commission. Can I get a motion to adopt the rule change?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Foster, seconded by Commissioner Moore. We'll go through and render our votes. I vote in support of adoption of the changes.
I vote yes.
Yes.
All right, and with that, we have adopted changes to our rules to the citizenship rule. And I'll just make a couple of comments here. So today in voting to amend our rules to reflect the charter amendment, today what we are doing in adopting these rules is that we are reflecting the charter amendment that Denverites voted to support in 2024 to remove the citizenship requirement within our city charter. And I think it's important to that this is a step as we are implementing the will of the voters here. This change makes applicant qualification based on work eligibility, good moral character, and the ability to perform essential job functions and compliance with other qualifications set by commission rule. I think that this is an important change that we have been considering because in Colorado, there was the passage of House Bill 231143 in 2023, which actually allowed DACA recipients to be post-certified, which marked a significant step towards additional inclusivity of these of additional applicants. And so what we are seeing today is the city essentially taking steps to reflect and allow us to consider those DACA recipients who can now be post-certified, right? We also have within this, considered the Denver Sheriff's Department removal of its citizenship requirement that followed a 2028 U.S. Department of Justice decision deeming it employment discrimination. So I think that this is a very important rule change for us for those two reasons as well. And we are right now in a moment of heightened attention, right, to public safety and immigration policies, not just here in Denver, but across the country. And so I wanted to be abundantly clear on a couple of things here. This rule change is necessary due to Denver voters' majority support to amend the city charter in 2024. Denver had a mandate before that vote that required U.S. citizenship for applicants to the classified service. So anybody who's applying for police and fire, it was U.S. citizenship. There was a U.S. citizenship requirement. But this law excluded people who are non-citizens who actually have full work authorization issued by the federal government, which, so what we're saying there is that essentially there were folks that could apply for other jobs in the United States in Denver, but they couldn't apply to be police officers or firefighters. And so that work authorization allowance is what we are creating today. And this charter change follows these changes, right, from based on what the state has already done, and then also this U.S. Department of Justice consideration. The reality is that many non-citizen residents are legally authorized to work, meeting all necessary qualifications and possess the skills to serve effectively in Denver. So it's my hope that this change will be seen for what it truly is, a step to increase fairness in our employment practices enhance diversity, access a broader talent pool, and promote inclusive community engagement. Okay, any other comments from our commissioners?
Yes, I have some comments. I think it's important that when an issue is brought before the voters of the city, the community, regardless of your feelings on that vote, that it's important when the majority passes that issue, that we do everything we can to execute the will of the city of Denver, regardless. I think it's important in all issues that go before the voting public, that when the voting public passes something in the majority, that us as appointees and administrators have a duty to uphold the will of the citizens.
Thank you. Absolutely, and so we appreciate the Civil Service Commission staff's support to make these changes so quickly. And now we can move forward with implementation. Okay. The last comment that I want to, do I have to do it at this moment? Okay, that's signed. And those rules are passed. Thank you, gentlemen. Rocky start, but we got there. Okay, the last piece for President Board updates is actually today, I was able to join our executive director as she was invited to present to the Denver City Council Subcommittee on, it's a lot of things. I think it's housing, homelessness, and safety. But it was great. We actually had additional members of council who are not on the committee also here to hear the readout. And so of, really actually reviewing what the Civil Service Commission does and what our role is within the city, but then also to address some of these changes that are being put in place. And so including the rule changes on marijuana and citizenship. So I think it was really well received. We had some really great discussion, had some really good questions from the city council folks. And in addition, they also, each one of them, when asking questions of our executive director, recognized the increased communication from the Civil Service Commission with the city council. And I just think that that is so valuable. And it was just really kind of them to recognize that today and really see and clearly recognize that we are working to provide more information about all the great work that the Civil Service Commission team is doing for the city. And so I just think it was really nice recognition too of all the hard work that you all have been doing. So thank you for such a thorough presentation. It was great.
It was very thorough.
It was very thorough. But it was really good. And I think they're going to invite us back this year. And so we'll just continue that dialogue, which is really valuable.
Did you get any questions?
Yes, I did. I think there were quite a few questions, and I've had lunch since. So I think, one of the questions is surrounding the transparency of the communication we provide candidates when they're disqualified. City Council member Hines had expressed he recently held a town hall, and that was one of the questions that was also raised. And so he appreciates the transparency that the civil service team now provides to the candidates when they're being disqualified and letting them know why and engaging them, because I think one of the concerns in the past may have been, that was raised to him during the town hall, was, if somebody was disqualified, say they made an error in completing their application, so I explained to them that has always been a practice, but we are more intentional, to really guide them through on what can be done, if there is anything that can be done. I think there was a lot of questions about a sort of, making the test accessible and what are the mitigation strategies that we have to ensure the quality of the candidates that come through, and it'll be part of my executive director presentation in a few. And just increased transparency, and then expungement questions surrounding, the expungement, which has been, a previous conversation by the board already in the commission, and Amber was kind enough to also feedback on that one.
Fantastic.
Yeah, great.
That's great. No surprises on either, right, between two independent agencies talking to each other. And so it just really was indicative of a good positive relationship. Okay, anything else from board members, commissioners that you'd like to? Okay. With that, we will move to commission calendar report out, and Mr. Dorsey.
Hello, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
We could hear you, Brandon.
Okay, going forward from today, February the 12th, we have President's Day on the 17th. Offices will be closed in observance of that holiday. Going into February 19th, we have our physical agility at the Police Academy. February 26th will be our next commission meeting. Going into March, we will have another physical agility on March 10th. Then on March 12th, we will have our March 12th commission meeting. March 24th will be our physical agility at the Police Academy. March 26th will be our next commission meeting for that month. And then on the 27th, the DFD Lieutenant registration closes. That does conclude our calendar presentation. Meeting dates are subject to change. The page will reflect any changes once available, but no later than 24 hours before the scheduled event. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. And just as a reminder to everyone who's tuning in, that calendar is public information on our website. All right. With that, we will transition to item number 5, which is our executive director's report by Tracy Price.
Thank you. All right. All right, so for this commission meeting, I'd like to share with everybody, next slide, please. Just some update information on our marijuana and citizen disqualified data for the requisitions that has been opened for 2025. This kind of just ties into the recently adopted or the newly adopted rule changes. So in 2025, we had a requisition for EMT open and closed on January 31st. We also had a requisition open for fire that closed on February 10th, and we have one continuous requisition for 2025 for police. And so if you look at that, the disqualifications for marijuana and citizenship. So you've got your total applications, and that I'll let you all read the numbers. And then a column after that is the total auto disqualified applications. So which means to say that these two rules will automatically disqualify folks when they submit their application. So out of, let's say for EMT, we received 276, total automatically disqualified was 71. But then if you look into the actually how many were disqualified solely because of using marijuana in the last 12 months, you're looking at 10 folks. And then for those who are non-US citizens, you're looking at 2 folks, and that's how you read this chart. But then keep in mind that they may be disqualified for those reasons, but there could be other disqualifiers. So extracting just the sole reason for disqualification is marijuana and citizenship, the number goes down further. So if you read that first line, we received 276 applications for EMT. Total disqualifications was 71. Total disqualified for marijuana was 10, but of the 10, only 6 people were disqualified solely for the use of marijuana in the last 12 months. And so that's kind of just putting numbers in perspective. With the rule changes, I think it's important that, we are informed, well informed of what the impact translates after we make the rule changes. So as we've adopted the rule change as well, just keeping in mind, For citizenship, we will look retrospectively from when the ballot 2T measure passed, which was in November 5th. So any applications we received November 5th and the requisition is still open and we're still actively filling, we will look at those individuals to see if they can move on to the next phase, which the next phase in the process is a written test. If the requisition is closed, there's nothing we can do. Those who become qualified will just have to watch out for the next requisition to open. For marijuana, we're not gonna look retrospectively. It's gonna be prospective from the time it is implemented, which we anticipate to be in June, because there's a lot of operational procedures that has to be hashed out after the adoption.
So, say for the 6 people, the EMTs that were disqualified solely for marijuana, will they be invited or notified that they could apply again? Or
No.
what? So they're just on their own?
Correct, because we've notified the public of the proposed rule change, and then once we implemented all our materials, it's gonna be indicative and, of that change. So the qualifications, when they answer the questions as they submit their application, it will change from the last 12 months from date of application.
I hear you saying that we as CSC are not going to be, but is there any effort from the police department's recruitment arm to reach back out? I mean, sole disqualifier for police is 54 candidates. That's a bigger number than 6. Are we aware of any outreach that they may want to do?
One of the recruiters for the police department is in attendance, so I would like to defer if they have any plans, but certainly something we can collaborate in.
Yeah.
Technician McGee? Don't mean to put you on the spot,
We can also
and we can table it.
engage with them
Yeah.
after.
Yeah, we can engage.
Well, I would support what Steve is saying. I don't think it's enough to just suspect people that have seen the notification. And the sole reason that those 54 were disqualified was marijuana. We should let them know they can reapply. I don't see what the harm would be in doing that. And it's fairly easy to do.
Yes.
So I would support doing
I
that.
would think it would be a good outreach for recruitment at the PD or the fire department.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
But-
is Technician McGee here. If you'd like to send us that information, we can certainly reach out to those individuals and get that information. That's no problem.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Now, what we did for fire is exactly that, because with fire, we closed it on February 10th, and we received the application in anticipation of sort of, some of these applicants may still be considered in the process, although the posting had closed. So we had outreach those solely disqualified for citizenship on the fire side of the house and let them know they're welcome at their own discretion to go ahead and assume the cost and take the test.
Right.
Because I didn't want us to be like, okay, we'll reconsider you in March. We're gonna retrospectively look at your qualifications, but then the testing period is closed. So sorry, now you don't meet the testing requirement. Like, we didn't want that, and so we did
Correct.
outreach them.
Yeah. Correct. Okay, good.
All right, any further questions on this slide, you guys? All right, moving on to the next slide. So just an update on the NTN test. Next slide, please. All right, so if you can recall, we implemented a new test for police, Denver specific, non-proctored, only with 2 components, written and writing and reading components. And then we modified the fire exam and removed the public safety self-assessment portion of it and reduced the testing time frame by 2 hours, although the rest of the components, human relations, reading, math, and mechanical, right?
Yes.
Remained, and it's still proctored. So kind of just bringing to your guys' attention, concerns about, by making it accessible, how are we ensuring that the test remains of quality and the test remains with integrity? The question is, the new NTN test for police is unproctored. So, do you not fear folks maybe having their friends take the test on their behalf, right? And so mitigation strategies in place for polygraph. We we definitely, and I think I've mentioned it in the past, we have validated that the polygraph examiners, do ask the questions if the candidates have cheated on their exam. But taking that a little bit further, we confirmed with our job suitability assessment vendors, our, psychology assessment vendors, what mechanism do we have in place to also detect anyone who may not have the necessary reading and writing abilities, right? And so all three vendors confirmed that in a proctored job suitability assessment, that they are checking for those communication skills. Psychological Dimension has a more scientific write-up for me. So if you can see, when they administer the California Psychological Inventory, it is written on an 8th grade level, and the Personality Assessment Inventory is on a 4th grade level, and the Wonderlic is on a 5th grade level. And that's all proctor. They're, when I say primary, majority of our candidates, eligible candidates, are set psychological dimensions, and their report will reflect if they notice a candidate's inability to read, or some concerns, I should say, concerns on their communication skills. Similar to Nicoletti, although, you know, we haven't had any recent reports from Nicoletti, so it's something that we are gonna have to monitor. But I did confirm that it is actually, in fact, a component that they will rate, whether they're suitable, marginally unsuitable, or suitable, if there's any concern for communication skills. And then with IMA, they're a new vendor. And so they actually also confirmed that they have a proctored CPI, and the CPI for them is at a 5th grade level. So just putting it in perspective, I mean, you can ask your friends to take your NTN test with you, but the rest of the process still ensures that you can read and write instructions and articulate yourself.
So the grade levels for these components, have they changed from what they were before? Was that a similar grade level?
That's always been.
It's always been. Good.
It's always been. I think right now we can just put tangibly what they are.
Yes, great.
Psychological Dimensions have always had their CPI and their PAI. I think Nicoletti is the one that's moving towards adding, Diana, forgive me.
Yes, they're looking to change some of the exam that they do this year.
But adding CPI, right?
Yes.
Great, thanks.
Right, so, great. Okay, moving on. I think that is it for my, director's report.
Great.
Oh, and commissioners, I will be attending a recruitment and retention conference, out of state next week
No.
for law enforcement,
Where are you going?
Nevada.
I'd like to just make a comment, like, I really want to applaud the effort to go hard at this test. And the changes that have been made seem like they're really, really good. So just very pleased to see us make that progress so quickly. So hats off to everybody that worked on that. Really great job.
Okay, next.
Okay, yes, sorry, I'll tee you up. And then, we're on to item number 6, which is language assessment, and we'll have Diane.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Diana. I'm the budget analyst with the Civil Service Commission. Part of my duties include working with all of our vendors, contract procurement things. So one of the services that we work with outside vendors is language assessment. According to Rule 5, Section 15, we give special skill preference points to candidates for their overall ranking. And one of the skills that we give preference to is for speaking, being proficient in other languages. This is not one of our biggest services that we contract out. But I just wanted to update you on some of the changes that we're going to be making. In January, we met with Sergeant Chance and Sergeant Bastian and Chief Motor of the police and fire departments to learn about just the landscape that we're working in terms of why do we assess the preference skill, how do the candidates that we work with go on in their respective departments, and how do they use those language skills. And so, you can go on to the next slide, Brandon, please. And so we sort of did like a current state in terms of like, what does civil service do? What does the police department and the fire department do? What do we assess and how do they use those skills? I just learned a lot, I have to say, and it's really informative to be able to work with the departments and understand, like I said, like the landscape of what do the candidates that we process go on to do. So this is just some very general information in terms of the assessments that they go through, the process, the requalification, the number of candidates that or employees that are bilingual. And so you can go on to the next slide, Brendan, please. And so just in terms of the pricing and the language that the languages that we assess. So one of our greatest findings is that the police department will award, let me rewind. So, yeah. So one of the biggest things that we learned is that for the police department, part of what happens is when the employee speaks another language, they're eligible to receive a stipend in addition to their salary. And so, and the police department will sort of award the stipend to in any language that a candidate speaks. Currently, we only assess the languages that are listed there. So one of the changes that we want to make is to award also preference skills to a candidate who's proficient in any language. So actually, let's go on to the next slide, Brandon, to go into the future state, to the change that we're proposing. So we're proposing to go with a new vendor. They're called Alta Language Services. And they sort of do a digital language proficiency assessment. And candidate goes on and does their language assessment. They have over 36 languages that they do, that they assess. And it's still a competitive price for us. And so I think, yeah, so that's basically the change that we're proposing, and we just wanted to update you all on that.
So current state is that we have multiple vendors serving to assess the different language needs that we have across the languages that was outlined in the past. What we want to move forward with is we want to move forward with a vendor who can be a one-stop shop for us, if you will, with all these language options that they can assess, so we can open it up for more, talk about being more inclusive to those who are proficient in other languages beyond what we currently assess, plus ASL. So they actually work with, and this company, for your awareness, we're not gonna contract them out. It's a pay per service.
Yeah.
And it is actually, it's gonna come out, in the grand scheme of things, it's gonna come out cheaper and consistent for us. So it makes it more cost effective, because right now, depending on the complexity of the language, we may pay a one vendor higher than another. And then the mode of assessment is not consistent. There's, we try to keep it consistent, and for the most part they are, but it's not really like, you test for this, and there's not a way for us to QC, if you will, and really make it consistent. And Alta is an out-of-state vendor, but they do work with, they're very familiar with working with law enforcement and public safety. So just wanted to.
Great.
And then this also ends up being a digital first testing.
Yeah,
which
it's all done.
wasn't the case before.
It was done with virtual teams, either on Zoom or on Teams, but it was an interview, and now it'll be a phone call or it'll probably be a phone call, because it's one of the easiest things. You just dial in, you enter your code, they ask you questions, you repeat your answer, or online, or if you do the reading test, so yeah. Okay.
And they've been around for a while. They've been doing this for a while.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Yeah, great.
Mhm.
Good.
What I like about this is, one, we're increasing inclusivity and also modernizing to make it more creating easier solutions for us to conduct this.
Yeah, great.
All around great.
Thank you.
Thank you. I took all my throat. I'm sorry. It's gonna be not. Okay. Item Number 7, promotional updates. Ms. Jeanette.
Good afternoon. As of February 9th, the DPD sergeant registration closed. There were 162 candidates who registered. That kind of beats the record for 2023, where we had 131 who had applied. So this will be nice to have a good crowd again. So.
Yeah.
For DPD lieutenant, as of today, we have 81 candidates registered, and this particular recruitment will close on March 27th. So far, well, I just want to say in 2023, 88 applied, so maybe we'll exceed that number as well. Those are the only updates I have for today. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Item number 8, fire department updates.
Good afternoon. We are currently working on web developer. We also have EMT. We're looking at an April 28th start date. And then also entry level, we have a June 23rd start date for them. And that's all for fire.
Thank you, Stephanie. All right, police.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Tammy Lewis. The updates for DPD, the continuous application, there are currently 237 active, 22 that are in conditional, and 5 that have received finals. And I believe that's it for DPD.
Are those good numbers?
Yeah.
Great.
So when she says active, those are not your pool of applicants. You have applicants who have not taken the NTN test. So we've got a larger volume of applicants. The ones that are active are those who have at least, Tammy, forgive me, those that have at least completed the background history question.
No, good.
Oh, okay.
That's great.
Yeah, so those are very good
Yeah.
and are really keeping them busy.
Oh,
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Sam.
yeah, thanks.
All right, we will move to commissioner's review of candidates. And so I will give the commissioners a moment to pull up their votes, including myself. You sent those out, right? All right. We cannot, is that one? Okay. Yeah, and just for folks who are joining, while our esteemed colleague who's joining us digitally, is he still with us? Am I missing? Anyway, while he's joining us, because he's joining virtually, he won't be able to render his vote, so it'll just be the 3 of us. Gracie becomes the boss, as she'll take us through this, so I will hand it over.
Thank you so much. Let me know when you guys are ready.
Ready.
Ready? All right, starting with candidate 327375, Commissioner Moore,
Fail.
Commissioner Foster,
Second, fail.
Commissioner Miller. Candidate 5251, Commissioner Moore,
Fail.
Commissioner Foster,
Fail.
Commissioner Miller.
Fail.
Candidate 134237, Commissioner Moore,
Fail.
Commissioner Foster,
Fail.
Commissioner Miller.
Fail.
Candidate 327997, Commissioner Moore,
Pass.
Commissioner Foster,
Pass.
Commissioner Miller.
Pass.
Candidate 323954, Commissioner Moore,
Pass.
Commissioner Foster,
Pass.
Commissioner Miller.
Pass.
Candidate 313187, Commissioner Moore,
Pass.
Commissioner Foster,
Pass.
Commissioner Miller.
Pass.
Candidate 323629, Commissioner Moore,
Pass.
Commissioner Foster,
Pass.
Commissioner Miller.
Pass.
Candidate 328276, Commissioner Moore,
Pass.
Commissioner Foster,
Pass.
Commissioner Miller.
Pass.
Candidate 318672, Commissioner Moore,
Fail.
Commissioner Foster,
Pass.
Commissioner Miller.
Pass.
Candidate 278553, Commissioner Moore,
Pass.
Commissioner Foster,
Pass.
Commissioner Miller.
Pass.
Candidate 318123, Commissioner Moore,
Pass.
Commissioner Foster,
Pass.
Commissioner Miller.
Pass.
Candidate 314995, Commissioner Moore,
Pass.
Commissioner Foster,
Pass.
Commissioner Miller.
Pass.
Candidate 248546, Commissioner Moore,
Pass.
Commissioner Foster,
Pass.
Commissioner Miller.
Pass.
Candidate 322846, Commissioner Moore,
Pass.
Commissioner Foster,
Pass.
Commissioner Miller.
Pass.
Candidate 11473, Commissioner Moore,
Fail.
Commissioner Foster,
Fail.
Commissioner Miller.
Fail.
All right. That concludes the voting. One fails.
All right. I will move I'd like to make a motion to pass 11 applicants and fail 4. Can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Moore. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right. I move. Thank you all for your hard work on that. We actually did have one additional item on our agenda today, but we are actually going to move it. We're going to table it till next open session in 2 weeks. And with that, I believe that we are going to conclude. We don't have any matters for executive session, so we will conclude. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Can I get a second?
For sure. Second.
Seconded. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you everyone for joining.
Yes.